okay. Let's open with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Persons wishing to make the board aware of suggestions, ideas, and/or comments may address the board at this time. This portion of the meeting shall be limited to 20 minutes, and comments are limited to 3 minutes each. Comments that involve personnel or students must be discussed in private. Keep comments appropriate and respectful. Comments. Technology and Library Department.
Well, good evening. As you know, Deb and I usually do this every year where we like to just go over this past school year in terms of technology and what the library was done with Deb and I, what we were basically doing all year, and just kind of look ahead to at the end of this year and going forward to the 25-26 school year. So my 2 quick slides here, just want to talk about some of the key accomplishments that we as the tech department did this past school year. Basically a year ago, we were deploying 1,000 new Chromebooks to all the students. That's something you guys approved back in, seems like March or May of 2024, so it's been a while since we talked about it. But that worked really well this year, having all new devices for all the students. Breakage rates weren't too bad. I would say mostly just screens, just kids, forgetting to take the pencils out of their Chromebook cases and they shut the screen and oops, or the lid of the Chromebook and it's cracked. But fortunately, you approved also the warranty that we use with that Chromebook now, so that helps us out tremendously in terms of parts. We have saved a bunch of money not having to worry about going out and buying motherboards and screens and keyboards for to replace those Chromebooks. And I'd say it's also just been a nice stress release for parents as well, because they always get one free breakage, we'd say, if they damage their Chromebook. So parents don't have to worry about paying that first bill if the student was to break their Chromebook screen. It just kind of provides a little bit less stress on our end too, having to provide that quote to the parents to fix it, but also our prices for parts now have gotten tremendously lower as well, because we have that warranty. We just try to recoup some pricing back for those. We also replaced all the wireless access points and networking switches in the school. So currently we have 96 access points to provide Wi-Fi across the campus. I'd say for our size of the school, that's pretty drastic in terms of the coverage we have. That includes the new activity center out by the football field, the pavilion, of course in the building as well. And then we have 8 networking rooms and cabinets on the campus. That's also new ones for, like, the student activity center has one now off on the football field, and of course around the school. And then obviously we've talked about this many times the past couple months. The building project got us this beautiful space here, a new tech office, but with that came a lot of technology needs. So we were, hooking up the offices and the classrooms, making sure they had interactive boards and the desktops in there, the wiring infrastructure to run, the networking and get the access points up. This is my big first building project I've been a part of, so being a part of those meetings and making sure we had the right technology, the contractors, so they knew what they were doing, and working with the subcontractors was something that was new to me, but also a very, interesting experience to see how that part of it was done. And then of course adding multiple security cameras in terms of that, the new spaces. I believe at last count we were at 107 security cameras across the school. So I'd also say for our size of a school we had pretty good coverage, and we're looking to add a few more in some places as well, just to make sure we're monitoring and keeping things safe that way. Some things just looking ahead to, we're getting new copiers that you approved a couple of meetings ago. That should be happening here any week now, just waiting for them to arrive to us. So we're looking to get those out and pushed out to teachers so they can start printing hopefully on their Chromebooks as well as their desktops. Speaking of desktops, we're hoping to replace some of them. Some of them are aging pretty well throughout the classrooms and the offices, and Microsoft is going to be no longer supporting Windows 10, which those are running, so we want to make sure we upgrade those so they are getting the updates that they need. One of the things that was not included in the building project, but we want to kind of look at going forward, is the South Gym sound system. They use that, of course, for all the plays and the drama club, and there's just been a few issues in the aging software and hardware out there, so we just want to try to upgrade those to make sure they have good sound for their plays, and also just for our presentations that we have and programs that we do for music and all that down there. Also discussed with doing some digital signage in the hallways. That was something that we've kind of pushed back a couple times with the building project, so hoping to get that down to the hallway just to have just announcements throughout the day for the kids, or also during like games to put pricing on there, or just live streams and stuff that way. And as I mentioned, the security camera that we've been putting up, we have 107 of them. So hopefully soon, just looking at some pricing for a new security camera server or an additional one, just to cover all that extra recordings that we've had and make sure we're getting at least a 30-day retention rate on those. And then something that's more of a personal goal probably of mine is just to document things a little bit more and keep things a little bit more on paper, or as quote unquote on paper, but online and documented, just for procedures so we know what we're doing, or if something was to happen, we can go back and look at that. And just something I've always been trying to work on, even to share out to teachers. So here's how you do this. Something that I just want to get done, hopefully soon, just to have a little bit more documentation to report with that. So.
Questions for Derek? Because now it's my turn. Just to get started, we just always need, as a teacher, as the staff, everybody, even the students, that technology isn't just a tool, but it can give learners a voice that they may not have heard before. In everything I go to, they're always saying, you don't know what these kids are going to be doing in 2050, you know, and you just go, yeah, you're right. And so we just really need to keep our kids prepared. And I think it's essential. We've done a really good job with it just because of our early implementation of technology. One of the big keywords of the world right now is AI. And so we've updated our responsible use policy. We've made sure that it's comprehensive, but we know it could change tomorrow. And so within our responsible use policy, we have it there, but we're trying to make sure that we keep up with it. And so when we use the board policy for it, we thought that was just a good way to start, because that's kind of universal, but we will narrow it down if we feel we need to as time goes on. We're also making sure we're compliant with all of the kids are allowed to get there, and we're not just saying, oh, go find this, go find that. We know Google is everybody's friend, but sometimes Google doesn't always get the right things. So we're going to emphasize the clear boundaries that AI gives to us. As far as a teacher for AI, one of the things I've really tried to talk to teachers about with AI is work smarter, not harder, because of the things that it gives us. It makes it easier to make a lesson plan, but it doesn't mean you can just do a lesson plan. You have to look at that lesson plan. It also gives ways to make assessments and quizzes. We're going to be working on a lot of professional development. We signed the contract for, it's called magicschool.ai. It's teacher focused, but there's also a student component in it where we can start giving it to the kids and talking about that responsible use of it. For the students, when we talk about it, and my goal when the school year starts, is to make sure I get to every class, most likely the English classes, and just talk about AI. We've had issues with it here at school, there's no doubt about it, but just trying to make them understand, you don't want to get yourself in trouble with it. There's so many places you can go. ChatGPT could come up with something really risky that students should know we don't go there. But we're gonna talk, if we keep that dialogue open. It was interesting when I talked to an English teacher about students that were using AI to write a paper or different things like that. A big concern was like, don't scare them, don't intimidate them. Well, they need to be a little bit intimidated, and they need to understand that some of the things they do, you're not taking the AI and just, picking a sentence here and you're trying to get the AI to give you thoughts and ideas, not the paper, that part. Another one of our goals, and one of the state goals, is to begin integrating computer science throughout the school, you know, using our digital literacy, talking about some technical skills, how you use it for research, media literacy, digital citizenship, all of that the state's asking for. Really, you can talk AI again with it. You know, it just keeps coming back at us in different ways. In the classroom, and this is in the elementary classrooms, we do code.org monthly, so the kids are working on coding. I've been doing the K through 6 STEM on a weekly basis with every classroom, and then I'm working really hard with the teachers, and I'm kind of just starting at that elementary level, probably because that's my comfort zone too, is integrating STEM in their lessons. So with their new reading series, if they have a story about flowers and how they grow, you know, talk STEM. And I know those books also do that because they know how important it is. So goals would be going cross-curricular, talking about it even in math, talking about it in social studies. You know, when I say that, I can't give you an example right away, but it's something that the teachers need to think. How can computer science, could be the research part of it, help my students in a history class? And how might we get that? And again, the assessments and working with teachers. So our professional development, we have our PLC time, the teacher monthly meetings, as well as Tech Monday, and then as needed is mostly if a teacher comes to me and says, I need some help. And I think our school's really generous, and they'll say, I'll go to Ben or to the high school elementary teacher, and I'll say, you know, Mrs. or Mr. So-and-so needs some time. And they give it to them. They give them that PD time. They go to the red room. It's not a naughty room, it's just the red room that they can go and see things and work on things. And I'm there to help them and support them. This is just kind of an overview of our K through 6. We've got our STEM certification, which we're still celebrating and making sure it stays. The top 2 pictures were a time when we had our STEM fair, and we had probably maybe 100 people, if not a little bit more than that. It was called Imagination Station. So it's a STEAM night. So it was science, technology, engineering, math activities that were set up, but then the arts came in. So we had the music program that night, and Mrs. Hearing puts out her art show. And it's really fun to watch. We also had food trucks and different things. It was a really fun night, a good evening. And like always, when the kid comes up to me and says, this is the best night ever, Mrs. Cameron, that's all I need. I'll do it next year. When I'm planning, it's like, why am I doing this? But it usually comes back, it's okay. A goal of mine is to bring at least once a month, because what I've been doing for my schedule is I teach for 3 weeks, and then the 4th week of each month, I try and get my life back together, you know, with library, with STEM, with anything else that comes along. And I'm going to try and get that weekend for junior high. I'm going to talk to Mr. Spania and just say, what are you doing here? You know, if he's doing something with physics or something, if we can work with some cars or talk about force or motion or different things. And then definitely our innovation lab. I've used it a lot, but I need to start documenting how much other people have used it. This is the best space in the whole entire world, by the way, just so in case you didn't know. Library updates, if you look at the picture up here, this is what we looked like last fall, last June probably.
Well, September.
Here we are now in our wonderful area. With our collaboration with Libraries 360, I mean, I couldn't ask for a better thing to have happened to our school. And we're going, I believe, into our 7th year of it with our reciprocation. So we also have their library catalog. I was able to reach out to them. We had 17,191 books in and out of this room. Now, we know if it's K through 6, they get a little bit more. High school, they weren't able to really delineate my other side, you know, from side to side, but I think that's pretty impressive number for 1,000 kids. They offer us those databases that they give us. Those databases they give us, I know, you know, I'm going into my 13th year here. When I first came in, and Mrs. McGriff was buying databases. It was $20,000 out of that budget to have those different things for the kids to use. Now we have the Library 360 spot, and they buy those databases. They buy Tumble books. They buy, you know, the different things. So that's really helpful to us. And another thing, we have our self-checkout. So second grade starts in January, but third through 12th, they have their numbers. They check out books on their own. And so that's really helpful to us, where they can just zing their card and zing their book, and out they go. And then, of course, the e-books are really popular. And again, I couldn't get that. I wish I could get them to narrow things down a little more so I could really see what they're grabbing. The collection development policy is in our school notes that just says how we get our books, why we bring them in, that kind of thing. I'm just talking again, just in case. Banning books doesn't seem as popular at this moment, or I haven't heard or seen any real major issues, but it was happening in Indianapolis at one time, and I was so worried it was going to come this way. But you guys would probably be the first people that get that. This book is no good, they shouldn't have it on their shelf, blah, 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 blah. Well, we do have on our website a request for reconsideration of materials. That would be our first step. So they can't they're not just going to come to me and say, we don't want this on the shelf. It doesn't happen that way. And then finally, just our schedule. We have our K through 6 weekly. Junior high and high school is the teacher's request. And then thanks to Mrs. Allen, she has her book club. And that's been kind of cool for the kids just to get together and do some chatting. It's a good thing. So what I wanted to do, because as I think about my possible goals for next year, as Jerry was talking, went to ChatGPT, even though there's a million out there. And what I can do is I go in, and this better work because I've been practicing. Make this a PDF. I download it. But it did not download. Let's do it again. It didn't work at home when I was at home, but when I went in the house, it worked. And it does work in my office. Where's Derek? Yeah, why isn't it? It's not downloading. Let's try it. Let's see what happens here. It'll come up for me anyway. Usually I get no. Okay. I was scared this was going to happen. Just going to go slow. Suggestion? Nope. Do it that way. Here it is. Okay. Yep, that's what I needed. So this is what I did. I went in and I just said, I wrote this down so I didn't forget. Using the slide presentation, suggest, because we know we don't want to take everything they give us, or we want to kind of think about what they've said and make it our own. 5 goals for school year. For our technology and library departments. Technology. And there's my AI that's helping me fix things. Okay, so then what it gave me were some technology goals. Just to launch an AI tutor pilot program. We're doing that somewhat with our Magic School already. A coding curriculum, enhance the digital infrastructure, which that's more for Derek's end of it, you know, working on our, everything within the building. My library goals, strengthen digital and media literacy instruction, and then support literacy through cross-curricular initiatives. So things I'm thinking about, and every time I do this, you might get a little bit different tweak here and there, but I thought this was kind of a cool way to check it out. And what was even cooler is when I was able to just throw my presentation in there. I didn't have to rewrite anything, I just took the presentation and was able to put it in. So. And that is all I have. Thank you.
Any questions for Mrs. Cameron?
How, have you opened that request for reconsideration? Has that part been opened for a while, or is this something brand new?
It is, no, it's been there for a long time.
Okay.
And I got it from the Port County Library.
Okay.
I called Fonda and talked to her about it for a while, and her and I asked if I could use that one, and she was more than happy to let our school
I
have
like
it.
that step.
Yeah,
I think that's where the first place you go,
yeah.
Yeah, and it's in our school board policy as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Directions for.
how to do it.
Mhm.
Mhm.
You need this left on.
No, you can disconnect. Mrs. Camrath and Mr. Becca do a really good job with our technology department. We're always, you know, at the forefront of technology, and when you see what we have, you know, it compares and/or is better than, you know, schools around us. So
I was here that STEAM night.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh.
Well, there was a lot going on.
There was a lot
But it
going
was
on,
wonderful.
but it was wonderful.
Did you come in here?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I was in here, and I went to the art show, and I went to the music thing, and yeah,
It was a good night.
a lot of people,
Mhm.
and kids are excited about it.
I would love to go back to school.
A lot of fun stuff.
yeah.
Okay, is that it? Okay, food service director Karen Hagenow.
Yeah, so Mrs. Hagenow discussed all of these with me. These are annual contracts and agreements that she does each year, mostly with the Northern Indiana Educational Services Center for cooperative purchasing and group purchasing. It saves the food service department and budget, saves a lot of money by doing the cooperative purchasing and the group purchasing. So then we have to have a dietitian to help with create our menu to make sure it meets the school guidelines. The point of sale renewal with Titan is the system they use to, you know, run students through. Just like if you go up to McDonald's and order your food, we have it's called a point of sale. We have that for cafeteria. So these are just annual agreements that she's requesting your approval to move forward with.
Okay, questions, comments? Do I hear a motion to, for the approval of the food membership and food service agreement?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried 3-0. And will we still continue that next year? Remember when we were splitting with Westfield, and then we kind of made some changes? That's going to continue on for the next school year,
Yes.
right? Okay.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, and actually our MOU with Westville's
Yeah, I saw that on here.
on the
Yeah.
agenda, and so I'll touch base a little bit
Okay.
on that.
Okay.
But next is the second reading for Neola policy. So last month we did a first reading. You can see all of the policies outlined there. A lot of these have to do with new legislation. There's actually a special update for July that was just released yesterday. So just when Crystal and I got done with a big batch of updating policy, here comes another one. And again, it's all driven by legislative changes that went into effect July 1. Like the very first policy I saw in the special update that came out yesterday was in regards to streaming board meetings. And, you know, we're doing that tonight for our first official time, so which was a requirement by July 1. But that July 7th special update again, is legislative updates, and that was the first one that was on the list. So these are all just bringing us in line with state law. There's nothing special or that stands out from that, but I would request your approval so that we can officially put these into our Neola policy.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to accept the reading of the new updates for Neola?
I'll make the motion.
Second?
And I'll second that.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried 3-0.
So next is our memorandum of understanding with MSD of New Durham Township, which is Westville Schools, and South Central Community School Corporation. This is also a long-standing MOU that we've had in place for our German teacher that we share, for the food service director we share. We used to share some other services as well. We share transportation to AK Smith. So this is an updated MOU for the new school year. Our German teacher position stays the same. That's all split 50-50. As you know, you've already approved a change to our food service director. So she will work here at South Central 100% of the time. She'll continue to be, I think the term we came up with was the food service programmer for Westville. So she'll still do like the things you just approved, those cooperative agreements with NESIC, the cooperative purchasing, group purchasing. She'll continue to do those agreements, do their like their financials, the audits they go through with the state, all the behind the scenes type
All
of
the
stuff.
paperwork.
Yeah, all the paperwork basically. Karen will continue to do for Westville, but she'll be on site here with us 5 days a week now instead of 3 days one week and 2 days the next. So that update is on there. We also updated our transportation costs. Westville's paying 50% of the bus driver. They pay a mileage to help with bus maintenance and fuel, and that's included in there as well. So nothing too earth-shattering here. It's mostly the same, just some updates to prices for transportation and the agreement we already made for the food service programmer.
We still get Project Lead the Way kids, and
We're not.
any of those.
No.
What about the with Emma, the
Biomed? No.
Biomed,
So they
they have their own?
students, yeah. So we used to send for Biomed before Emma taught it for us, and then they would send here for engineering,
Okay.
PLTW engineering with Mr. Seifert.
So we don't send anybody, and they
No,
don't come here.
no.
Okay.
So they already had, I'm not sure if they have engineering presently. I don't think they do. They were sending to Tri-Township.
Okay.
So Tri-Township's engineering teacher just left though, so I'm not sure what that might do. They may ask us about it, they may inquire. But yes, right now Mr. Seifert just has South Central
Our kids,
students.
okay.
Mrs. Weigel just has Westville, or just South Central students.
Okay.
And the classes are, still good size and it's working well.
Comments, questions? Do I hear a motion to accept this MOU with Westville?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried 3-0.
Okay, next is the classified employee handbook for the 2025-26 school year. So each year we provide a handbook to our, we have a faculty handbook that goes to our teachers and certified staff. We have a classified handbook that goes to all of our classified staff, which would be our instructional assistants, bus drivers, technology department, food service, etc. So really just a couple minor updates in there, just cleaning up a little bit of language, really nothing earth-shattering in there. There was one thing toward the back with the 260-day employees. There was a small group of like 3 or 4 employees who got 16 PTO days versus 12 PTO days for everyone else that was 260. So we updated that for your consideration. But 260-day employees also get vacation time. So like a 260-day employee would get 10 paid holidays, they'd get their 12 PTO days, plus they'd get their vacation time. So after 1 year, an employee gets 5 vacation days or 1 week. Once they're here for 5 years, they get 10 days or 2 weeks. Once they're here for 10 years, they get 15 days or 3 weeks. And then once they're here for 15 years, they'd get 20 days or 4 weeks of vacation. So for some reason, there was one line in there where just a couple employees had a few extra days, so this just puts everyone in the same category. So other than that, there's really no major changes to that. But I would ask for your consideration of approval so that we can provide this to staff for the start of the school year.
Okay, hear a motion to accept the updated classified employee handbook.
Make a motion?
Okay, I'll second.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Okay, the next on my list is a consent agenda, including payroll claims 6/5, 6/20, and 6/24 of 2025, and the transfer claims 71247 through 71336, 71249 through 71260, plus the consent agenda. Questions or comments? I hear a motion to accept the agenda and the claims.
I'll make the motion.
Second?
No, second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. We have no donations this time. Administrative report.
All right, we'll start with our principal's report, and I knew Mr. Kimball wouldn't be here this evening, but Mr. Mills is here and has a few updates for you.
Good evening, everybody. Hopefully you guys are enjoying summer as it's kind of coming to the end for some of us. I know I've been on some for a couple weeks, but glad to be here with everyone this evening. Thank you this evening for approving Justice Anderson as our new drama director. She is a former satellite, and she actually did, at one time, she was a director for our South Central Drama Club, but had to leave the position because she was a new mom at the time. So she's very excited to be here and able to do that role again. And just to kind of put it on your forefront, the fall play that's going to be the first one under her direction is going to be the Mamma Mia play, and that'll be in November. So it'll be a musical in the fall instead of usually in the spring. So more dates for that will be to come, I would assume. And then also, just to put on your docket there, on August 11th, we're going to do our 7th grade as well as our new student open house. That'll be that first teacher day, so it'll be a long day for some of the junior high teachers and whatnot, but it's kind of a typical day that we do that open house for everyone to kind of come in, figure out lockers and where their classes are and all that good news. And it's good to see kids in the building at that time. And also, I know Mr. Kraft and Mrs. Creech just finished up their European trip that has been planned for a couple years. They've been sharing lots of photos with us, so I'm going to make a nice Facebook post that's going to kind of encapsulate all of that that they went through. I think they went, if I recall, 4 or 5 countries that they were at this the past 2 weeks here. And so it seems like they had a really great trip there in Europe, and so I'm glad to hear. I'm looking forward to hearing some of their tales and stories of the events there. Following up here with our curriculum data and updates here with our island results they're now pretty finalized from the last time I talked to you guys in June. For the most part, they kind of stayed the same from when I reported to you in June. I was very, very pleased to see where we were with our math. I know that was an area that we've been very concerned on for the last few years, and I'm very pleased to see where, especially our 8th grade students this year, where they made a 10% increase from their previous year of proficiency than they were last year. So last year they were at about 40%, and this year they ended up being at 50% passing rate. as well as our 7th grade that came into us. They were about 51% when they were 6th graders, and the test does change a little bit when they come into the junior high side, and they kind of stayed status quo with what the state did, and it was about a 3% decrease, but it still was a 48% passing rate of what our students were able to do, which was still significantly higher than what the state had for an average for all other 7th graders. The state had about 36% passing rate. So I'm glad to see our numbers are better than the state's, and I want to continue to foster that growth with the 7th graders as they become 8th graders, and our incoming 7th graders to continue to build them with their increases. One other area I want to highlight is our biology class. They actually had an 18% increase from last year's passing rate to this year. So last year they were at about 31% pass, and this year they ended up being at a 49% passing rate. The state is about 46%, so it's right around par with what most of the other schools in the state do on that test. So very, very pleased with the results that I saw there from our testers. So I know kids don't like testing, and I don't like having to make kids test, but glad to see results finally kind of come to fruition there. And then just a real quick athletics update. Our boys and girls basketball teams had really successful camps that they put on in the month of June, as well as participating in the summer leagues. And then I know our girls varsity volleyball team also has been doing very well and participating in the summer volleyball league as well. And our football team is preparing for the fall season. I know their numbers at the beginning of the summer were a little hit and miss, but hopefully those numbers kind of round out as the season comes a little closer here. So that's pretty much it for the high school side.
Thank you, Mr. Mills.
Yep.
Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Mills?
Glad to hear Justice is back.
Yeah,
She's wonderful.
very happy.
Yeah, she's great.
Next, just some updates on the building project and summer projects. We have a handful of punch list items that are still being finished in the activity center. It's still, 99.5% done, but a handful of things that continue to need to be done, like the handicap buttons don't work presently. They're working on those. The mural of South Central pictures that will go on the wall as you walk in, we're still waiting to be completed. And just a couple of little things like that. We're having a problem with the Acrovin, which is the wall protection, which is, like we have the chair rail in here. In the high school and elementary additions, there's the wall protection all the way down. It's in the locker room areas, just to help prevent, drywall from being busted up when a, kid accidentally drags their backpack along the wall, or maybe intentionally takes the pen and, rubs it down the wall. Because of the, I think because of the heat, some of that wall protection is bubbling up. There was some, back and forth throughout the process about, whether or not it should be installed, between the architect, the construction manager, and then the installer, which was Gibson Lewis, the subcontractor. So, we're, Tom Blank and Gibson are kind of battling it out at the moment. I got an email earlier today with the architect involved as well. So I'll talk to John Gilmore and get some updates on that. But
Is that in the big room?
the big room.
So is it like the whole wall, or just from a point down?
Just certain parts of it. I mean, it's like on the big blue wall. There are some parts that are probably 6 or 8 feet up, and then on the other walls it's at random spots. A lot of it's at the joints where the two pieces come together. So yeah, it's a problem that they're going to have to fix. So it's unfortunate, but I mean, we knew all along that the space was not being air conditioned. It was going to be heated only, just because of cost. And and 80% of the year, 85% of the year, you can get away with not having the air conditioning in that space. So So we'll work through that. I'll keep you posted. That's kind of in the architect and contractor's hands to deal with, but I know Baton Blank has been diligent about, because it's been going on for probably about 2 weeks now that they've been going back and forth. They had a rep from the company out of Wisconsin that came down and they met with and looked at it. So they've had a few different people out. There's nothing quick about those types of things. So, but Baton Blank has been staying on top of it and keeping me updated on, thoughts on how to proceed. So we'll have to figure
What
something out.
point did they turn the building over where, like, football and whoever could start using it?
So football did start using it, like, believe it or not, on like the hottest days when they couldn't be outside. It was still warm in the big space. I think like when they first went in there, it was, like 79 degrees, which isn't terrible, but when it's, feels like 104 outside.
Yeah, the fans.
We do have the big old fans. And those help tremendously. But like right now, if we went out there right now, it says it's 80, my phone says it's 82 degrees. If we went in there, it's probably 75 degrees in there, 76. It's warmer than most of us probably keep our homes, but it's certainly warm at 72 in here or something like that. So, it's a little warmer than we are typically used to, but it's bearable, and for, like I said, 80-85% of the year won't be an issue anyway. So if anyone wants to go out and see what I'm talking about afterwards, I'll be happy to go show you. But yeah, but as far as like building being turned over, we did use it for officials for the baseball sectional. Football's been in there a few times. They finally got the batting cage. The one batting cage would only go down, not up. They had to like manually move it up. They got that fixed. The sound system is complete now. We were waiting on that for ever and ever and ever. That's done. So yeah, they can start using it.
Good.
We did set our ribbon cutting for Tuesday, August 5th. We can, talk about time as far as, I was thinking of like maybe a 2-hour window where families and community members could come in and see the new building. Also could come in, and if they haven't seen the renovations inside, we'd want to invite them in to see the additions of the classrooms, the new restrooms, library media center. But I thought if we did maybe a 5 to 7 time frame and then did the ribbon cutting right at the beginning, like at 5:15, we can, welcome everyone. The architect would probably say a few words. I'd thank everyone for coming. Brian can give a little speech, and then we'll, oh, that's right.
Deputy Secretary after that.
Yeah. And then,
Work on that speech.
So we'll continue to plan for that. Hopefully they'll get this wall protection issue remediated by then. But as far as some of the other outside projects we're doing, CL Houston has been painting the building, so all the prep work's been completed. They power washed the entire building. They've addressed the rust spots and the spots where that baby blue was showing through. The majority of the tall wall in the back of the building has been done. They're about halfway down the front of the building, and then they'll have the roof cap and metal around the lower part of the roof left to prep and paint. But where you do see the paint, you can see a marked difference in that. I got a couple pictures I'll show you too. And then Boyd Asphalt, also they started yesterday, so they've milled the entire lot. It's actually, I think, 100% done last I looked. So they've done the pickup drop-off lanes, the main big parking lot in the back, the small parking lot between softball and football, and then the north drive, the exit drive from pickup drop-off. It's all been milled between yesterday and today, and then I think they're going to start right away tomorrow on laying new pavement. So those things are coming along, and I'll share my screen with you here for a second. Yeah, you don't want to see that. So here's some updates that Derek is throughout the entire project has posted pictures from the project, but here's some new concrete right outside the south gym doors by the greenhouse. So we have new sidewalks leading up to the building. There were a lot of sidewalks in really, really poor shape. So we got that taken care of as a part of the building project. Same with out front, in front of the corporation office. So here's one of the pictures of the painting where you can notice here they've painted, here they have not. So
So faded.
they've, yeah,
It's
I
just
mean,
so
it's,
faded,
yeah.
so.
Yeah, so you can really tell the difference, and especially in the back of the building, like if you're standing by the softball field and or the football concession stand area, you can see that whole back like this. You know, this has all been painted down here. They have not painted, you know, that south gym space yet, but big improvements there. So you can tell here where they've kind of remediated this area. So they power washed it, sanded it, and then put like I'll call it a primer. It's not, I don't think it's technically a primer, but basically a primer to, like a bonding primer to make sure that the paint sticks better this time around, so that baby blue doesn't come through. So the new trophy cases were installed in the main hallway. So this was the trophy case we had already done. That's out there. So we've done the rest of them now. We are still waiting on the glass fronts. They said they had some wrong parts to hang them. So we are waiting on those. But the trophy cases are in. They're beautiful, very nice. The material was all paid for through the building project, but the labor and installation was all donated by Ton and Blank.
Wonderful.
So the materials were under $20,000 for all of them, and I bet the labor and installation is probably $30,000 or more. So there's the sound system speakers in the activity center that finally went in. I know I already sent you some couple pictures of this, but Shane Grass was here and helping with a few projects around campus. So Shane, and while he was waiting on some of the activity center stuff going on, but Shane and then a couple people from our maintenance staff put together a little pavilion for the football field, basically just as a entry point so people know, like, oh, yep, this is where I go in, a little more welcoming. Really like to put like a, welcome to South Central or a
Big logo.
SC logo, yep, up there. But turned out really nice, and it was literally like a $1,250 kit from Menards. So, and by kit, basically that meant it told you how many boards and all the things you need. Shane and a couple of our staff still had like cut all they had to put all the joists together. They had to cut all the angles, stuff like that. So it wasn't like here's some bolts, put these together. It was definitely more entailed with that, but it was material wise, it was a good price. So those are all those pictures. I think that's about it. Maintenance staff has done a good job of keeping up on summer cleaning. The elementary school is pretty much done. I think they said there's a couple more carpets they need to shampoo, but all the rooms are done. They're well on their way, and the high school site as well. They've been scrubbing the hallway floors. Those are finally looking a little better, coming a little more clean. So building's looking good. And then one other thing I just wanted to mention was open enrollment. So I've been communicating with Mrs. Allen about open enrollment just to keep her updated. But we have a lot of open enrollment applications. We actually got our 60th today for grades 1 through 12. So there's a lot on our list. Like if you look at the spreadsheet, there's almost 100, but that's because it includes pre-K and then kindergarten. But for grades 1 through 12, we're up to 60. We got number 60 today, and able to approve a lot of those. We do have a waiting list for certain grade levels. Quite a few of our grade levels, I was actually going to pan over to that, but quite a few of our grade levels are full now. or just have a couple of spaces, like 6th grade, we're gonna have to get updated because we actually got 2 applications for 6th grade in the last 2 days.
So that may be full too.
So that we will mark as full. 8th grade, we've gotten another 1 or 2. So, yeah, I mean, 8th grade will still remain open with a few spots, same with 11th grade, and then I think
Full everywhere.
K1, 2 will still have a few, but other than that, then we'll have,
Not much space.
everything will be full, so unless you live in the district. Now, we'll have withdrawals, we always do, each year we'll have a number of withdrawals, so that might open some spaces or alleviate some of those numbers that might be a little higher than we like. And you know, we graduated, we had 70 diplomas, we only have about 50 lined up for kindergarten right now, so we've got to make up for, there's a, you know, minus 20 right off the bat that we've got to make up for, so that we're not down enrollment wise, but between withdrawals that will come that we're, you know, we don't really know about yet, but with, you know, there's 60 transfer apps, if you know, there's maybe 10-ish of those are on the waiting list, so like you figure, you know, there's 50, not all 50 will end up coming. There'll be some that will decide, you know,
Too far.
yeah, they don't want to do it, change their mind, they won't, but we'll get a vast majority of those. So, you know, let's say, you know, even 40, if they,
Still making that up, that
you know,
20.
we gotta make up the 20, and we gotta make up for the withdrawals that we don't know about yet either.
Mm-hmm.
So, but then we'll have students that live in the district that will come as well, that we don't necessarily know about yet too. So, looking good enrollment wise, and hopefully we'll be up, you know, a handful of students. So, and I think that concludes my administrative report.
Anything else you want to bring up? No? Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Meeting is adjourned.